State, Mr. Inslee.
Thank you. I think what is so disturbing, at least to me, in this investigation, is that this was not simple one human failure of running through a stop sign. It was going through one stop sign after another. No batteries in the blowout preventer, hydraulic leak not fixed, failure to do a cement log, not having adequate centralizers when their own personnel recognized they didn't have enough of it. We get an email from someone said, but who cares, it's done, end of story, we'll probably find and get a good cement job. I mean, if the airline industries was operated the way this particular situation was, no one would fly an airplane. And the whole industry now, I think, needs to think seriously about what we do about this. One of the things is the corporate culture. And I think there's a serious question about the corporate culture here with British Petroleum, whether or not it really rewards and insists on safety performance. Mr. McKay, how many people have lost their jobs as a result of this disaster at British Petroleum?
I don't know of any yet that have lost their jobs. There are, I think, a couple people that have been placed on administrative leave as the investigations are conducted, but I don't know of any yet.
Do you think that that will happen over time?
It's hard to speculate, but I assure you that if the investigations show that people made mistakes they shouldn't have made, that could very well occur. Yeah.
Well, we'll be watching, and certainly in the U.S. Navy, they would have a culture that would respond to this adequately. And I can just tell you, my constituents are not impressed with the response yet from British Petroleum in this regard. Second, we want to ask about whether or not the industry has made appropriate investments in improving safety of offshore drilling. We're going deeper and deeper in the water, extraordinarily deep, as our oil supplies dwindle. And the risks increase. I think everybody acknowledges that. So the question is, what is the industry investing to try to determine that? British Petroleum, we asked these questions to the 5 companies here. British Petroleum responded that they had spent $10 million in 1 year in research for offshore safety technology investments. How much did British Petroleum pay its CEO last year in relationship to that $10 million you spent on trying to come up with safety offshore drilling techniques?
I don't know his exact pay.
Well, the public report suggests that he was paid about $36.5 million, 3 times more. You paid your CEO 3 times more than you spent in your entire research budget to determine how to reduce the risk of catastrophic failure in the offshore oil fields. Do you think that is an appropriate prioritization for a company in your business?
I can't comment on his salary. I actually don't think that's a correct number, so could we get back to you on his salary? But
thank you. And just so you know, you're not alone on this. Conoco spent 0.008% of its profits on trying to improve offshore technology. Exxon spent 0.08%. British Petroleum spent 0.06%. Those are not huge numbers. And I think it's pretty apparent, given this risk and given the increasing risk of going deeper in water, we encourage the industry to start making more serious investments to try to prevent these situations from taking place. The third thing I want to ask the industry about is about the investments you all are making in an attempt to prevent invisible oil spills. And I'll just ask you very quickly, does everyone agree that every single oil well you drill and that we use ends up in an invisible oil spill because we burn it, it makes carbon dioxide, the carbon dioxide goes into the oceans are now being more acidic because of the carbon dioxide, and they are 30% more acidic in pre-industrial times because of the carbon dioxide that comes from burning fossil fuels. Obviously you're not responsible for all of that, but very quickly, can you all just say yes or no if you agree with that? Just start with Mr. McKay, very quickly.
I would not agree with that characterization.
Okay.
It's not a yes or no question, I don't think. I do see the link between oil production and CO2.
I don't agree. There are emissions associated with our operations and our product.
Scientific debate, so I'm not sure we can answer yes or no.
Well, actually, it's not a scientific debate. We've had a lot of hearings on this, and there is no scientific debate about this. Carbon dioxide makes the oceans more acidic. And your joint investment as percentages of your gross revenues for energy sources that won't put carbon dioxide in the air are ConocoPhillips 0.03% of revenues, Exxon 0.1%, Chevron 0.31%, Shell 0.26%, British Petroleum, which at one time was meant to be called Beyond. And I've got to ask you, to me, those investments, and we appreciate any investment you make, but isn't it clear that at that level of investment, we will not be able to solve this problem of pollution in the oceans caused by carbon dioxide? Would everybody agree with that? We'll start with Mr. McKay.
The changeover and the transition to alternative energy will take quite a while and a tremendous amount of investment.
Well, let me just ask you, let me ask you this question. Does everybody agree we've got to up our investment in clean energy technologies if we're going to solve this problem of carbon dioxide acidifying the oceans? We'll start with on the other side of the table.
Please make it yes and no.
These issues are too important and too complex to be reduced to yes or no answers. And so I'm just not going to go there with you. This is too important to have a yes or no conversation.
Well, appreciate your written response. We'll look forward to that if you can provide us with that. Is that okay? Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
The gentleman's time has expired. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Blunt.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. McKay, on the issue of cleanup, I think your company has said that you're going to be fully responsible for whatever the cost of the cleanup. Is that right?
That is correct.
And what about economic damages?
Yes, we've said that we would honor all legitimate claims. That's right.
So the current cap, which actually I've introduced